Welcome to the Fractured Families podcast. I'm Charity, your dedicated parental alienation coach, here to guide and support families as they navigate the challenges of high conflict divorces and custody battles. On this podcast, we'll share insights, practical strategies, and hope for those on the journey toward healing and justice. Whether you're personally experiencing these challenges or just want to learn more about the complexities of parental alienation and custody disputes, you're in the right place. You are not alone. This is the Fractured Families podcast, where every voice matters and every story is heard. And if you find my conversation helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us reach more families who need it. Hey, thanks for joining the Fractured Families podcast. I'm Charity, your host. I have with me today Ryan Fountain. He's with us from Illinois. He's an alienated father who has been fighting the courts and the mother of his children for the last 8 years. He has quite an interesting story about the courts and time with his children. So, Ryan, thank you for joining the Fractured Families podcast. Why don't you get us started and tell us a little bit about the relationship with the children's mother?
Well, it was a rocky, we were married almost 10 years, and it was rocky back and forth, but, you know, we were pretty good with the kids. Seemed like I would have to pick them up after work. My mom watched them a lot. And, if my mom didn't have them, they were pretty much running around with me all the time, out in my garage or yard. Yeah, it sums up our relationship. I don't really like to get involved. Our personal, mine and my ex-wife, it was rocky back and forth. We've been through ups and downs.
So, how long has it been since you two been separated now?
I'd be around the first year in uh, 2018.
And what prompted that separation?
Well, she was turning 30, and for like a month, she was in a deep depression and just couldn't get over her depression because the world was coming to an end, I guess, turning 30. And she started talking to other guys and wanted me to be jealous. And I just said, I'm done. We're married, or you shouldn't even been hanging out with them.
So, how old were the kids when you two separated?
Well, Grace would have been really little. So I think Addie was around 6. Grace would have been 3. So she was born 2014. Yeah, she'd have been 3.
So, prior to that, you had a great relationship with the children.
Yeah.
Okay, so the separation starts. How did it first unravel? Did you both have time with the children? How did that look initially?
Well, we just split them up 50-50 initially. And we did a pretty good job about going back and forth with the kids. Sometimes she'd get frustrated because the kids wanted to come with me. I can remember one day I got a journal too, but in 2018, uh, Addie was throwing a fit because she wanted to come with me. So every once in a while, I'd end up with a little extra time.
So it was originally good. And then when did it start to change?
Well, it really started to change when I tried going out and talking to her parents to let them know everything that was going on, see if they could help. And that's when it got really rocky after that.
Explain what rocky means.
Well, I went out and talked to her parents, and we sat in our living room, and or I guess it'd be a computer living room. I don't know. They got 2 like living rooms side by side. But I told them everything that was going on, and the only thing her dad could say is, we know my daughter because my one arm was bigger than the other because I beat that child so bad. And then he just kept saying, I had one hell of a temper. And then he started to say, well, you haven't had the best influences. He said something about my buddy Josh. I said, which is just a cousin of theirs. I said, I don't know what Josh has to do anything about this. I said, he'd give the shirt off the back to your daughter and never would ask me to go run around. And that's how it got rocky. Josh's wife, I guess, was friends with his other daughter, and it got back to him. And he gave me a phone call, said, I thought you wanted me to stay neutral, and then hung up on me. And then that's when the whole battle started.
Okay, so what happened after that? How did the battle start?
Well, I know one time specifically, her dad came to my house, changed all my door locks, and we were out in the yard. And Jessica came home, and I asked her why he changed our door locks, and she proceeded to tell me that her lawyer went in there to get an order of protection. I said, well, you got to have a reason. She said, you'll make one up. And but then still, every once in a while, she'd get a little nicer, and I'd come over and hang out with the kids, and then it all depended what kind of mood she was in.
And so were you two divorced at that point?
No, we weren't divorced yet.
So you get the order of protection and did you still have time with your children after the order of protection, or how did that impact that relationship?
Before the lawyer got involved, yes, I had 50-50. She put in there our parenting schedule on the order of protection, but then when her lawyer got a hold of it, that's when they cut my days back. And they cut it back to exactly 146 overnights, and that's when Judge Corey said, I know exactly what you're doing.
And what did the judge mean by that?
Well, in Illinois, 146 overnights, if I get one more day over that, it becomes like a joint custody, and the days start getting used in our child support calculation. So they want me to stay under that 146 overnight threshold.
So did you end up getting those 146 nights?
I ended up getting 149 overnights after it was in 2019. At the end of it, which I was out of money, the lawyers had an option. They kept coming back, said, "Hey, she'll give you more days if you pay her this X amount of money." So we didn't go by the child support calculator. I ended up paying for some extra days for the kids, and then yeah, so that's how I got 149.
And how does it look today?
Well, we went back to court. It's been, and it's still not settled. We went back to court. April 11th would have been 3 years because the alimony ended, and she wanted more child support. And she works for cash. She does hair, so she claims like hardly anything, and they use our incomes. And so I did ask for more time. That ended up in mediation, the dental bills and everything that she still owed for. I ended up with 156 over.
So what does that look like today, your custody arrangement and your time with the children?
So in November, I got another order of protection. So I have to see my kid besides I have to run across my youngest daughter once at the park. And that just keeps, the court dates just keep getting pushed off.
So the first protective order, when did that expire?
And then within that first year, I guess, and it went to like a no contact order with her. The second order of protection actually didn't last that long either, but it was agreed we'll find out. And that just keeps getting extended on. And then the guardians got to do their investigation. She asked for another 45 days, so it's just not going. And in the meantime, my she's actually trying to some of her friends who wants everybody to know she still loves me. So since November, my daughter's actually she's sent notes home with the neighbors' girls from school that tell me she loves me. She's always trying to relay messages. Yeah, but it's starting to continually get a little worse. She's getting a little more distance. You could hear. I'm able to talk to him on the phone now, but you could hear her mom in the background, like saying things, and she not allowed to touch the phone, and she's got to put it on pause, and her mom dictates everything she's able to say to me.
So Ryan, after you left the relationship and you started to leave the household, how did you end up getting a protective order the first time?
That's when I was sleeping on my couch, and when she was wanting me to leave, and I asked her to leave the room because I didn't trust her at the time, and she wouldn't leave. She had her dad on the phone. She was trying to get her dad to come over, and I said, just walk away and I'll leave. And then she started pulling the couch cushions out from under me, started pulling on my pant leg, and I was curled up in a ball, but she proceeded to attack me, and I pinned her down on the ground, and that's how I got the order of protection. Because when she called the cops, when she took off to the neighbors, they just took her word over mine, I guess.
Were the kids home that time?
They were in bed. They were in the other room.
And so you weren't living in the household at that point.
I was kind of back and forth. I was at my mom's some, but all my stuff was still there.
And after that protective order, you had to leave the household?
Yes, I haven't been back in the house since.
And after that, then you went and filed for custody. You two went through the custody hearing. And what was that like?
Just long, drug out, never get anywhere. Lawyers just like to seem like they'd love the more disputes, better for them, or more man hours, I guess, more line in their pockets. But yeah, it went on. I had good lucks, but nothing ever got brought up in front of the judge. Both Judge Corey and in 2019 we had Judge Mack. He ended up actually having some words with them, but until we finalized our divorce, we never actually had a hearing or went in front of a judge. Everything got done amongst the lawyers arguing out.
So, what was custody or shared parenting time for you like during this process?
Before the order of protection, it was 50-50, but after that, the 149 overnights I had, it was, I'm trying to think how it went. I had them every Monday and every other weekend, but that's where it kind of got tricky because when we signed our 149 overnights, they gave me the parenting plan, and there was only like 120 days in it. And that's when Judge Mack, when he finalized it, they tried saying I was refusing to sign the parental plan. And I let him know about the auction and how I paid for these days, and it's not in there. And then he turned to them and he started questioning there. And they went back and forth for a little while, and she was stuttering, saying this and that. And he just stopped her and said, "Do you agree he should have 149 overnights?" And she's like, "Well, I signed it." So he had us put a clause in there if the agreement didn't add up to 149 overnights, that we would add to my time. But when somebody's a little controlling, how do you agree to on all these overnights? When it's not in the actual set dates.
So, did you end up getting your parenting plan time that you guys agreed
For the
with?
most part, I some of the days they cut out, like the Fridays, every other Friday, I end up just automatically getting them. But for the most part, it was kind of a headache having to switch days around and argue about some of the days. But yeah, I was getting the 149 overnights.
So, you would say that initially you had a pretty good amount of time. It wasn't half, really. Well, a little bit less, but you had a good amount of time. And how was the relationship with the girls during this transition?
Oh, it was great. I mean, we were always doing something. And yeah, all my kids were, when they were little, were daddy's girls. So yeah, they I went to all their ball games, and the youngest daughter, I guess she was in ball, but she was in t-ball. I coached her t-ball. But yeah, I went to every. It's kind of hard because I'm in a construction industry, so it's kind of hard to make the games. But I I think there might only been maybe a couple, but that I missed.
And then how long did that court order last where you had those 149 nights and then it started to change? What made you like, how did it transition to where you're at today?
Well, and it'd been April 11th, 3 years ago of this April, she took me back because the alimony ended and wanted more support. And then I asked for more parenting time. So we kind of, and a set schedule instead of having to go back and forth which what days we're going to add. And if I paid for the dental that she still owed me and some other things, that she would give me 156 overnights. So it was kind of like the schedule we were doing, but it was just set in stone. And so I think it wasn't quite 50-50, but so I took that agreement. And then I think she found out that my new kid and the number of overnights that her child support was going to go down. So then that's when my oldest daughter, which I've been trying to get her in counseling for the last couple of years,
Mhm.
but her mom refuses her to get in counseling. And I think that's when things got ugly because she found out that her child support would actually go down, not up, because
So,
they would have taken the new kid into consideration.
and that you had a new child,
Yes.
a new relationship. So, talk to me, help me understand what ugly looked like.
Well, so we're at one of our ball games. Like even when I do have parenting time, like her mom has to intervene with the oldest daughter. Like I've had to have her mom like removed here from she'd come over here unannounced, and the oldest daughter are fighting, or she'll want them during her time. And I've had to have the cops remove her from here. And we were at a ball game, and my fiance said, "We're going to start having problems with the oldest daughter again." And I said, "What do you mean?" And just the way you could tell the way her mom and her were acting. And it seems like whenever she intervenes and is on the phone with her all the time, she kind of coaches her through. That's when Addie really acts out. And she November, was it between the 1st and the 4th? I can't remember the exact date. Is when Addie climbed out the window. She was acting out and climbed out the window, and I let the officer know because in case they seen her or whatever, and they're claiming that I was abusing her now. So that's how the second order of protection happened.
So who made that claim? Her mother?
Her mother and Addie, but there's a lot of conflicting. I don't really want to get because they're trying to. Her mom's actually wanting me in jail, but there's a lot of conflicting stuff in the reports. But I do know the officer on duty, which he was new to town. We're in a small town. He didn't find enough to arrest me on, even though she was wanting me picked up. And then, yeah, so hopefully that goes away soon, but they just keep extending that court date out too.
So it's progressively gotten worse. It
Yeah.
started pretty amicable. She warned you that you were going to get a protective order. She made that happen. You had some time with your children. It wasn't 50-50, but it was reasonable and it was a good relationship. She found out she wasn't going to get as much child support, and then she started to make matters worse.
Yes, and she's very good about coaching the older daughter too. It's like I'm not real sure what to say, but she I would love to see my daughter get some family psychologist, and a good one that she needs. And her mom's resisting that right now. She does take her, I guess, to a place called the Freedom House, but that's only, I don't know, people around here say they hate men. It's just for battered women. So I don't know enough about the place, but it seems like they cater to. They don't care if the allegation's false or not, because I'm sure they work on grants. So the more people they get through their doors, the more money they get.
And what about your younger daughter? How's
My
that?
younger daughter she's hurt, really hurt bad. So she's been passing notes to the neighbor girl to have put in my mailbox, and she relays messages to other people at the school that she loves me. And I did see her once run into her mom. We were at a benefit, and she was walking to her mom's car from her mom has a hair salon, and her jaw dropped really big. She got really excited. She's seen us over at the park walking to our car. She ran back inside, I'm sure, to ask for permission to come see us. And it took her a little while. I didn't think she's going to be able to come out. And then finally she bolted, took off running, gave us big hugs. But she wasn't scared of me, but she was scared. I got a video of it too. She kept looking over at the salon, kept looking back and forth. And I said, "Grace, what are you looking at?" I told Mom I'd be right back. And then a little later, I said, "Grace," I said, she was her little baby sister, she was excited to go down the slide with her. And she's like, "Well, I don't want Mom to get mad." So I said, "Well, I mean, if you think you're going to be in trouble. But then before she went back to her mom, she turned her back towards the salon and showed me how to use a game called Roblox. And I thought that was cute. So she could talk to me. So she walked in the salon door and she started messaging me right away. "I love you, Dad. I love you." And she played Roadblocks with me pretty much until 10 o'clock, until her time was up. That was my day to talk to him on the phone, which her mom said they had a bedtime, so they couldn't talk to me long. But she played Roadblocks till 10 o'clock at night. And then the next day, I was deleted off the Roadblocks.
Her
And then,
mom found out.
yeah, her mom found out. And then the next phone call I got with the girls, Grace was acting real funny, like she was in trouble, just real quiet, and didn't say much. So,
So sad.
yep.
So when was that?
That would have been about a month ago. I know it was on I think it was on a Tuesday, because they were doing tacos for a benefit. So, but yeah, that's the only time I've seen either one of them since November.
So let's talk about November. What happened then?
Well, I don't want to say too much since there's a case, still pending. But I could talk about what led up to it. Addie kept bugging to have a friend stay the night through a text message. I just kept saying no and no, and we she came home and I went for a little ride with her, trying to um, talk to her about her grades and some other things. And we came home and she went straight to her room. And yeah, that's she locked herself. And I went to carry in some laundry, had my hands full with the laundry basket, and she wouldn't unlock the door. And when I unlocked it, she started shoving the door into me. And then the rest is all allegations from there.
So, how old is she at that point?
She's 13. She'll be 14 here in May.
But up until this point, what kind of challenges were you facing with her as the time went on and she spent more time with her mother in that household?
I haven't really talked to her at all, but up in every great once in a while, Addie would have a blowout episode. But the weird thing is, it was only when she's on the phone with her mom. Like we could be having a great time, we'd be out doing stuff, we'd maybe go to the movies, and all of a sudden, like she's on the phone with her mom, and then next thing I know, her mom's outside her house, and then like one specific time, like her mom just left her because Addie was crying out in the road, and she was like, I had to like practically carry her in the road because her mom just left her laying out in the road. And but yeah, we've never had an issue one-on-one time when our time wasn't intervened.
So, from a custody perspective, what's next for you?
I really, the guardian ad litem asked for another 45 days. So April 30th, we'll find out what her investigation looks like. And hoping, praying that I could get 50-50. I mean, usually when kids are involved in parental alienation, they need to be distanced for a little while in some kind of counseling. So I'm hoping, since I've been trying to get her in counseling for 2 years, I hope the courts will intervene and get my daughter in the help she needs. It's kind of sad. She ruined her whole entire eighth grade year because she dropped out of all her sports. I'm guessing because her mom always had a problem with her in sports because her mom would only go to games that were in town because she didn't want to like have to drive out of town and go to all these things. And she always told me that Addie wasn't too much. So now that she's there full time, Addie's not in any sports, and she's losing a lot of friends. Her friends are still her friends, but nobody's going over to her mom's house because her mom's made false allegations about some of her friends too. Like, I don't want to say no names because they are minors, but I know one friend I was told that Addie wasn't allowed to hang out with no more because she believes something sexual happened between, and this was one of Addie's girlfriends that they've been friends with forever, you know. And then some of the other kids, you know, they're just distancing themselves from their mom's house, not Addie.
Well, that's the goal of the narcissistic alienating parent is their goal is to isolate the child. They don't want any other interference or influence so they can completely manipulate and control the child's mind. If they're isolated and they don't have any friends and their paternal, in your case, the paternal family is not part of the child's life, the only support they have is her. So they become completely dependent on her.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're not allowed to talk to their aunts and uncles. Anybody that's on, like, knows me.
Mm-hmm.
My mom that's always had the kids, they're not allowed to talk to her, call her.
So
Which,
your parents have been separated from them as well. Your mom has been separated from them as well.
yeah, and they were when I was working and we were still married, they were the main caretaker when I was working. So they, even after we split up, their bus route there for a while was dropped off every day at my mom's house. So yeah, it hurts the whole family.
Yeah. How does this impact your relationship today with your fiance?
She's very dumbfounded. I told her about all this stuff, and I mean, she knows how good of a dad I am, and she's been there for 4 years now, witnessing all of it. And you know, we got a child together, and then she has a child that she lives with us full time, and we co-parent great with that child's family. And yeah, she's just kind of dumbfounded. I mean, our relationship. I mean, I guess we both get kind of down sometimes, you know, seeing old pictures and videos. It's just kind of different, quieter, but that's a bad thing. All the kids were always playing with each other.
So you've got a lot of heavy stuff on your plate right now with everything with the court and the allegations and child support, and there's got to be a lot of anxiety and some fear. How are you handling that?
Well,
Yeah, it's a lot. Do you have any support groups locally that you can participate in?
I got a lot of friends that are really supportive. I've got a great church family. They've been really supportive.
So financially, I'm sure it's taken an impact as well with all these legal fees.
Yeah, I'm estimating somewhere 80 over $100,000. I'm not really sure exact number. I did file bankruptcy a few years ago. Was hoping I was done with the legal fees, and yeah, it's kind of sucks. You know, my new fiance and my child's like we're doing good. All our bills are paid. She had to go back to work. We struggled with some miscarriages and had some problems, so she didn't work a lot. But now that I work seasonal jobs, now that I'm not working right now, is to help cover the cost. She went back to work full time. So yeah, it is a big strain. I could live simple. I don't need nothing big and fancy.
Wow. Yeah, I think, like many parents in your situation, is ultimately you just want your children, right? You just want your kids back, and you want all these horrific lies to just go away and things to go back to the way they should be.
Yeah. Yep. I'm hoping after April, I'm gonna ask to go to trial because I know the judge has been making comments about why this has been taking so long. So he seems like he's getting a little frustrated, and we got the same judge back that actually helped me get some days, that 149 overnights back. So hopefully he could remember that.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Definitely. All right. Any final thoughts? Any?
I mean, until this happened to me, I was kind of unaware. You know, I hear of some horror stories, but nothing like I've been through. But, you know, I went to Missouri last year to help Mark Ludwig set up an event there and just talking to other people, part of the community, quite more common than I thought it was. And it
Yeah.
is a big issue, and just the effects it has on the kids. I mean, if we would have just, when we split up and decided to do 50-50, and just her parent on her time and I get to parent on my time and not intervene with each other, I think our kids would be in a totally different situation. I mean, mentally. So,
Has she remarried?
no, she's Grace came to me last year and said, "Hey, Dad, Mom's gonna hurt somebody's feelings." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, she asked which one we like better. Addie chose Brian, and I chose Michael. And so the last 2 years, I always called it a morning guy, and Michael was the afternoon guy. He's the one I always talk to if I was dropping the kids off. I never met the other guy, so I can't say nothing about him. Well, the one just finally bolted. So now, and I don't know that I've never met this guy, but when I'm on the phone with my kids, I could hear them in the background making comments. So I know the other guy would never have done that. I can't really tell what they're saying, but
So she's brainwashing him as well, obviously.
yeah. Yep, she don't paint a pretty picture. But I was kind of embarrassed at first, but good thing about the small community, you know, there's been a lot of people that come up to me, said, "Hey, this is just you're the one I've seen with the kids all the time before you guys got divorced. This is just bull crap." And so I think a lot of people know, they've seen me, you know, interact. I was the one the kids, if I wasn't working, they were with me. Whether I was volunteering at the fire department or wherever I went, they went.
Yeah. So it's been rough. But what are you doing for you?
For me, I got that 1 year old, and I'm probably being prejudiced, but she is a doll and she's very active, and she's hard not to smile.
Yeah.
She is a happy baby, always giggling and laughing. So she'd take away about anybody's stress. She's actually not here right now because I figured she'd be a little loud.
We would love to meet her.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining the Fractured Families podcast. I appreciate you
Yep.
sharing your story and being so honest and transparent. And I know how heartbreaking this can be, and you'll be in my thoughts for sure.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing out some awareness because I've actually, whenever a politician's campaigning, I bring up the shared parenting community, and you'd be surprising how most of them never even heard of it.
It's,
I said, really? I said, well, in Illinois, you voted on a bill for it, but you didn't know what you were voting on. So yeah, it just kind of shocked me. A lot of them don't even know what it is. There are a few of them that are supporting it, though.
well, I think, and I have this consistently with guests, is until it affects you personally, it's in their mind, it's just something somebody talks about, or it's not possible. And I get that a lot on my post is, why don't you just go to court? Well, that's why we're here.
Yeah. Like the kids will be 18 before I'm done with court.
Yeah.
That's the sad thing where, you just run out of money.
And that is what a lot of parents, that's the point where they walk away, is we've fought into the point where we've either run out of money or they've aged out. And I mean, every state is different, but when you get to the courts, they're between 14 and 16. They allow the children to make their own decisions. And if they're being coerced and manipulated and they live in fear, they're not going to retaliate and say, I'm not going to live with that parent. I'm going to stay here and this is what I want, because that's what they've been told they have to say. Well, thanks again for joining the Fractured Families podcast.
And thank you.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Fractured Families podcast. I hope our conversation has provided you with support, understanding, and actionable insights to help you navigate your own family challenges. Remember, healing is a journey, and reaching out for help is a sign of strength. You're not alone. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your support helps us reach more families in need. You can contact me on social media at Parental Alienation is Real, and visit our website for additional resources and ways to get involved. Stay strong, stay connected, and keep fighting for the family bonds that matter most. Until next time, take care and stay resilient.